Chuka lost his father when he was 8. He remembered that day like the echo of a gunshot in a quiet night. That day, his world turned from warm laughter to cold silence. Uncles came in dark clothes, promising to be there. But promises are easy to speak and easier to forget. Chuka watched those uncles from afar, trying to find a father in the lines on their faces, in the weight of their voices. He tried especially hard with Uncle Kalu, the rich one, the one who wore wealth like a crown. Chuka thought, if he could just stay close, maybe he would learn how to feel the hole in his chest. But Uncle Kalu saw him as a shadow to be chased away, accused him of theft, of wanting too much, of being a burden in a world that had no space for broken boys. That night, Chuka made a vow, with tears on his pillow and a heart determined not to break. When it's my turn, I will be an uncle with a difference. I will be a father to the fatherless, a shelter to the lost. So, Chuka became a teacher, not just of numbers and grammar, but of life and hope. His classroom was more than walls and desks. It was a sanctuary. Children came to him not just to learn, but to heal. Among them was Uche. Uche was a boy with darkness in his eyes, a past that weighed down every breath he took. Uche had been a compulsive pickpocket, a child of violence and neglect. The world had written him off, but Chuka refused to let the story end there. He took Uche in like a father would, taught him to see himself not as a monster, but as a soul worthy of redemption. It wasn't easy, oh. You see that Uche? There were days when Uche would rage, throw chairs, curse the world, but Chuka never stopped showing up for him. Never stopped believing that even the worst stories could be rewritten with love. Years later, Uche stood taller, his eyes clearer, his heart lighter. He became a youth leader. See Uche speaking to boys about choices, telling them how one man's faith can be the light that pulls you from the pit. Chuka didn't just teach. He fathered. He listened. He showed up. He became the uncle with a difference. Then, one rainy night, driving home after choir practice, a truck ran a red light. The world in that instant turned to metal blood in an instant. The driver died. Chuka was pulled from the wreck. Breath ragged, body broken, he slipped into darkness. A coma that held him for 4 long weeks. But you see this life? Life has a way of rewarding those who pour themselves out. While he lay in that hospital bed, his students gathered. They held night vigils outside the hospital gates, singing hymns, songs of praises, holding candles, their voices a prayer that reached the doors of heaven. Uche, the boy who once walked in darkness, led the charge. He spoke to news reporters. He raised money for Chuka's medical bills. He told the world, "This man saved my life and that of my friends out here. Now it's our turn to save his." 4 weeks later, miracle, Chuka's eyes fluttered open. The first thing he saw was Uche holding his hand, tears streaming down his face. Chuka survived. He went home to his wife and children, his body still healing, but his spirit unbroken. At a community Thanksgiving held in his honor, Uche stood up and said, "This man taught me that no one is too lost to be found. He became the father I never had, and because of him, I am becoming the man I never thought I could be." Wow, that was such a touching moment. In that moment, Chuka's heart was full. He realized that fatherhood is not about blood, not about who you were born to. It's about who you choose to show up for, who you refuse to give up on. And so he stood up, weakened but alive. He said, "I am the uncle with a difference, the father who never had one, but became one anyway. And as long as God gives me breath, I will keep on showing up. Because The reward of doing good is not always in riches or praise. Sometimes it's in one life turned around, a light in the eyes of the lost, a child who learns to believe again, and that is enough. So we want to take the time today to celebrate every father out there, even if they've come packaged like uncles, every father figure, everyone who have sown into another life and brought them up like his. Happy Father's Day.